This 2 at lesson activity is in math and focuses on using measuring tools. I'll be integrating some features in Smart Notebook, Google Earth, and a document camera. So let's see how these work. In this lesson activity, we're going to use some objects that students have brought in. This is really important because students can make a connection from their home lives into what we're teaching in the class. And in this example, I have a rock here that a student has brought in from Malibu. And we are going to use a document camera, which is here on the table, to show it on our digital whiteboard system. So I'm going to place the rock right here, and I'm going to use the document camera. I'll lift it up, it has a gooseneck on it, and I'll position it to about where I think it's going to show the rock. And then I'm going to go to my smartboard. I'll click the Start on the bottom left corner, and I want to start up the Vision program. And this is the software that runs the document camera. So we can see my rock nice and easy down here up on the board. And what I want to do is get a screen capture of it. So I'm going to go to my smartboard tools and choose the screen capture toolbar. And I'm going to minimize my smartboard tools now. I'm going to choose the area capture, and I want to get this rock. So I choose the area capture. It's going to take it into Notebook. I open up Notebook, and I'm going to close my capture toolbar up here for the moment. So I have my picture up here, and let me move my document camera down for the moment, which is typically what you do when you are teaching. You'll have it up, you take a picture, you either put it down or move it off to the side while you're teaching. We're going to take a look at a couple of angles here. Let me show you my what angles we're going to use. I'm using the Magic Pen tool, and I want to focus on this one area. We have an angle that's up here, and we also have a larger angle that is on the bottom down here. So we're going to measure both of those angles. The first angle, I'm going to choose the line tool up here and go to Properties. And I want to go to the line style and make this red, because red is going to be a nice contrasting color. And I'm going to draw one line here that goes along that angle and another line up here. I'm going to choose the arrow select now because that is pretty close, but that's not exactly where the line is. So I'm going to basically nudge around and move just to the right spot. And with this line, it needs to be moved just a little bit to get the correct angle. So this is now the angle of that rock up on the top. I have two lines. I want to highlight both of them, and I want to group them together. So instead of having two lines, I now have one angle. Next, I want to get my protractor, and I want to bring it up to do some measurement. But you'll notice that the protractor is behind both of the lines, the angle and the picture of the rock. I want to bring it forward in front of the picture, but still behind the lines, because I want to see the lines very clearly. So I'm going to choose the drop down, go to Order, and I want to choose Bring Forward, and that will bring it one step up. And I'm going to move the middle of the protractor to the middle of the angle right here, and choose the rotating tool and rotate it around. Now, it will take some fine-tuning to get both the angle and the middle of the protractor into the vertex of the angle right here. And it looks like I've actually accomplished that. That's good so far. Now I want to measure what this angle is. But I'm taking a look up here, and instead of the students seeing really closely what that is, what I can do is use the Magic Pen again and draw a rectangle around here. And now it's going to zoom in, and I can see that this is 100 degrees, and it looks like it's going to be 101 degrees as we look fairly close at the magnification right there. I'll close it, and now I can write that this is 101 degrees. And that's what that angle is. And I can even move that angle away, and I can move the protractor away. And I can talk about this is a 101 degree angle, and it fits directly right there. So that's one way of drawing some and measuring some angles. I'm going to go to my next page that I have up here, and in this case I have a interactive protractor, but I don't have the picture of the rock. So I need to go back to the previous page. I'm going to select the rock and choose the drop down and copy. I will go into the following page and I can choose paste, and I now have the exact same rock. I'm going to have the rock right about here, and I'm going to move the interactive protractor up, and again it is behind. The reason it's behind is because every time you put in something new, it's going to be up one layer. So I'm going to click the drop down one more time, go to order, and bring to front because I want it in front of the picture. I'm going to bring it close to here, and I want to measure this angle. So what I'm going to do first is click the arrow that's right in the middle, which means it's going to be measuring from the left side, and I need to rotate it. And again, it takes some time to get it not only into the right spot, but also at the right angle. So you need to do a little bit of back and forth with this. And so now I have the angle correct on the left side, and I'm going to go to this line right here. I accidentally moved it around. You're going to be doing the same thing also. It's accidentally moving some things at certain times, and that's just fine. The dot that's up here, the green dot, you can click on this. Let's try that again. And you can start moving it until it gets to that angle that you want it to, and that's 77 degrees, and that's what the angle on the bottom part is. Now this green arrow down on the bottom, what that will do is it will copy that angle and spit it out. Down here, now we have that angle that's not only measured and drawn as one complete object, but it also has the angle marking in the middle of it. I can move my protractor now. I can align it back so it is horizontal again, and I can move the angle that I just measured and put it directly on top. So that's another way of using the protractor and interactive protractors. Now let's look at measuring with a ruler. So I'm going to move to the next page here, and I'm going to go back to my document camera. Now with my document camera, what I'm going to do is physically move this back up. And this is where I had it before. Now I want to measure how high the rock is. So what I'm going to do is bring the gooseneck back down, and I want to click on my software right here, and you'll notice I have the rock right here. So I'm going to, but it's at a strange angle. So I'm going to move the head of the document camera, and now we can see this how big the rock is. Again, I'm going to go to the Smartboard Tools. I'm going to choose the Capture Toolbar and choose the Area Select. And here I'm going to select the rock, and it is now inside the notebook program. I'll click in the notebook program, and now I'm going to move the document camera out of the way one more time. I'll close the Capture Toolbar, and I will minimize the Smartboard Tools, and I now have a rock that's right here. I have a ruler, and again the ruler is behind, so the first thing I'll need to do is select the ruler, click the drop down, change the order to bring it to front. And you'll notice that if I want to measure how high this rock is, I will need to rotate the ruler. So I'm rotating the ruler so it is now up and down. And I can bring the ruler so that the top line is directly on top of the rock. And looking down at the bottom, it may be a little hard to see exactly where the bottom of the rock is. So what I'm going to do is choose, going into Properties, Align and Align Style, and I'll use yellow this time. And I can say that the bottom of the line is right, bottom of the rock is right about there, so I can easily identify. And the top of the rock is right there. So I can click the arrow and move those lines slightly just to make sure that they are exactly in the right spot. And again, I can use the magic pen, draw a rectangle, and say, let's count the marks. So we can either count by 1/16 of an inch, a 1/4 of an inch, an 1/8 of an inch, or what have you. And I'll see that between the top and the bottom, we are at about 1 1/4 inches. We can see that nice and clearly. So I will close this, and I can label this as 1 1/4 inches. I can do the same type of thing in terms of measuring with a ruler, but this time it'll be an interactive ruler. I'm going to go to my pages over here, and this time I'm going to drag this picture and go into my next page over here and go into page 4. Taking a look, I see that it's up here now, and this is my interactive ruler. Now the interactive ruler can either be changed from metric to imperial. It can also be rotated, and it has these red arrows that are in it. This will allow you to align exactly. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to rotate the ruler, and I also need to, once I get it perfectly vertical, I need to change the drop down so that the order of it is in front. And I'm going to move this up so the top is where the red arrow is, right up there. And I need to bring this bottom one up to where the bottom of the rock is. Now this bottom arrow down here, when I click on it, it actually shows a value that pops out, and I can click on it, rotate it, and make it larger. So it looks like on this it's actually a little more accurate of a measurement of 1 3/16 inches. So it's another good way of measuring a little more exactly. Another thing we can do is measuring distances in Google Earth. Now remember I told you the student found it in Malibu. What I'm going to do is open up Google Earth, and Google Earth has a way of measuring distances also. And so the first thing I'm going to do is go to the search pane and type in Malibu. So I'll need to bring up my keyboard up here, and I'll minimize this now, the Smartboard tools, go into the search and type in Malibu. And I already have Malibu written in there. I'll hit enter, and I'm going to minimize the keyboard, and we're going to fly into Malibu, and we can say, well, do you remember what part of the beach it was? She said, yeah, it's right by, actually, Point Doom. There is a beach that's over here, and so we can zoom in. Maybe that's a little too much. There we go. It was somewhere along this beach. The ruler in here is right here, and it brings up a pop-up screen, which I'll bring to right about here. Now there are two ways that you can do measurements. One is a line and the other is a path. If we wanted to measure how long this beach was, we have line right here, and we click from one spot and then go to the next, and you notice that this is 0.63 miles to go basically as the bird flies, to go in a straight line. But she was walking along the beach, and that's actually not swimming directly from one point to the other. So we can click on path, and in path we can start from the same spot and just go along as we go through here along the beach in the route that she took until we get to the end. But the path is 0.69 miles as opposed to the line, which is 0.63 miles. We can also change the units of measure if we wanted to change that. Instead of miles, let's change that into feet. So the path going, the line going straight across is 3,300 feet, and the path is 3,600 feet. So it's much longer as it goes through. So that's a way that you can use some measurement in math. Now it's time for you to get to it.